Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be doing a dedicated video towards these little cute speakers just here. These are the Canton speakers that were donated by Keith, and I still have two more in my cupboard. However, I've picked my best example of the two. What I mean by that is the prettiest of the two, or the prettiest two that don't have any damage, any marks, anything on them. And I'm going to be doing a little bit of a video on them today, just around them, involving them. And one other thing that I've mentioned in my previous video is I need to build some rear speakers, and these speakers here would work perfectly for the time being with some stands that could go there. So what I'm actually going to do in today's video, as well as just play around with them and talk about them and do stuff with them, is I am going to build some stands for these to go at the rear, which I'll also make sure work perfectly with the speakers that I intend on using as rears, or I intend as building as rears, so I can use them for rears on the same stands when the day comes that I finally make those. So with that being said, in today's video, we're going to be talking about these Canton speakers. These are the Canton. What are they? They are the MX. Nice. These are some really nice little speakers, and they're really cute. So let's kick it off with these things. Alright, so I now have the Cantons hooked up just by themselves, so let's just give them a little sound demo and see what they sound like. Alright, so as you can hear, everything aside from bass sounds absolutely awesome. And I did have a comment, someone saying that match them with the subwoofer because they perform awesomely with one. And I'm still just trying to get the matching subwoofer for the set. I know Keith has it, and I know we're just trying to work out ways to get it to me. So I'm just going to wait for that to happen, but I'm just going to pair it with the Daytons for a little bit just to hear how they sound. So what are we going to do? We're going to switch on my Serwin Vega amp here and my EQ, and switch our remote over from portable audio, from 2-channel stereo to portable audio, which includes the subwoofers on the front channels, and let's give it a little sound demo and hear what it sounds like with the subs. Alright, so with a mix of subwoofers into it, it sounds absolutely awesome, and I can definitely see why people bought this set of speakers. I'd imagine it'd even sound better with the Canton subwoofer that's designed to match them. So I'm very, very excited to hear what that sounds like when I get my hands on that. If I get my hands on that, that is. But now we're going to go and go out to the garage and build some stands for these rear speakers here that should hopefully fit them perfectly, and then fit my speakers that I'm going to custom build for rears perfectly later on. So let's go out in the garage and build some stands for these speakers. Initially I'm not going to paint them, but I will before I install my permanent speakers on top of them. So for now, let's just do it really roughly. Alright, so one of the also most important things we should be checking here is that we actually have enough room. So I can see here I have about 1100 mil. I have about 110 millimeters that I can work with before I'm going to get in the way of the door. So what I'm actually going to do here is just open the door as well and double check the clearance here is about 110 mil. I'm pushing it there, but that is where I'm going to have to settle at for this side, and depth I have, 200 and something mil to work with. So I'll probably just make a plate that's 110 mil by 110 mil, and we'll go from there. Okay, so as far as materials go for this project here, I'm actually just going to use some 18mm MDF and some 9mm MDF for the base and the stands that are holding it up. Alright, so as soon as I want to cut this sheet 900mm long this way, and my table saw only cuts at 620, what I'm actually going to do is shave 240mm off this end to make this edge here 900mm long, which will make it perfect height for ear level behind the couch. All right, so now that I've got this sheet here cut to be 900mm that way, I'm now gonna cut some 50mm poles out of it here that will work as the support that attaches the base to the top of the speaker stand. Alright, so now I have the bases and the tops cut and all of the lengths that are going to attach to the top and the bottom, and as we can see here now I can line them up just like they're going to be. Obviously I'm going to do a much better job measuring them, and then again we have one of these pieces that go on the top of the on top of the speaker stands like that. So yeah, there we have it. We have all the cuts done, so now let's begin nailing and gluing these stands together for the rear speakers. Alright, so I now have holes marked on both the bottom and the tops and also the bases of the legs. So now what I can do is line the holes up that have been pre-drilled, apply some wood glue and screw these things in, and they should hold without splitting any of the wood. Alright, so about 45 minutes later, I've just built two stands for my rear channels here, which I'll be using in this part of the build as well, just to hold the Canton speakers. And then when I build my custom Daytons, these things will hold it perfectly. They could probably do with a little bit of bracing down the bottom here because the bottom is a little bit small, but I'm assuming once there's a bit of weight on here and they're not going to be bumped all the time, or if at all ever. So it's not really that big of a deal, but if I do have an issue with that, I can just add to the base down here. But anyway, there's some custom speaker stands. Eventually I'll fill in these screw holes on the top we can see here in the bottom, and I'll add a layer of paint to it eventually. But for now, I'm just gonna leave them in my room like this at the back of the room because the system isn't complete yet. It's still a work in progress thing. So there we go, that's some speaker stands like that to build for the Cantons. Now let's go and see how the Cantons fit on top of these speaker stands. Alright, so here we are with the speaker stands in the bedroom, and let's just give the Canton here a quick little test fit. Look at that, it looks perfect on there. Just such a snuggly little fit, and it stands on perfectly. And I'll eventually finish these and paint them in another video perhaps. And I might actually expand on the base a little bit too, because they're a little bit, ooh, nearly just dropped it. They are pretty significantly wobbly. But anyway, there's just some basic speaker stands that I've built real quick. And just let the wood glue dry. That's why it's now nighttime outside, and you can see me there with my camera. So yeah, let's just pop these at the back of the room. Let's actually hook the Daytons up. It'll be the first time I've had a rear speaker since I've had this couch, and I'm pretty excited for it because I haven't, oh, there goes my phone. I haven't had 5.1 since I've had this comfy couch, which means I haven't been able to enjoy movies with this super comfortable couch here. So let's put these at the back of the room and see what sort of height they're at and if they're at the right height or not. Alright, so I know this isn't exactly what you're expecting to see right now. I know you're expecting to wait for these stands at the back here, but as you can see there, that light's on, and that light is currently sitting there because this here is the power supply. And as I was just down there changing the wires, actually removing the banana plugs off the end of the wires there for the rear speakers, because these Cantons don't have banana cables at the end, or they don't support them. Lately my 12 volt thing here has been sort of cutting in and out. I've sort of just been moving it and it starts to kick back in. But anyway, while I was back there, it just did a massive spark. And if we have a look at the end of the cable here, look at this. See this angle that it's just attached, or got on? That was really bad English. See, this has produced a hole into the cable, and it was sparking absolutely bright blue. 240 volts has shorted out through there. I'm so lucky that happened while I was there watching it, and you know, I wasn't outside or, you know, not at home, and this could have short circuited and blown up and caught the back of my couch on fire, which could have caught everything in this room on fire. So just a message of advice to anyone out there: if you're buying cheap stuff off eBay, example, this 12 volt thing probably cost me $10, just make sure you swap out the cheap 240 volt end. I know 12 volt is still dangerous, but 240 volt is much more dangerous than 12 volts. So just swap these wires out for something a little bit better, because this right here, I mean, it's some cheap wire. So just be really certain that when you are leaving things like this on all the time, just make sure the wires is of decent quality. If not, switch it off at the power switch every time you're done with it, just to stop the risk of, you know, something catching fire. It's the first time anything like this has ever happened to me, so it's really opened my eyes as to what can happen. So I know now when I go on holidays and things like that, I'm actually going to switch everything off at the power point. But I just thought I'd give that little bit of advice there to anyone. Just make sure you inspect things and make sure it's okay, because that could have been really bad, and I'm lucky I was right there, actually just pulling the banana plugs ends off the cable there when I witnessed this just spark. But anyway, let's put the speakers at the back and see how we go. I'm gonna have to find another IEC cable, which I know I have so many of, and I'll get that light back up and running so the video is super well lit for you. Yes, I am actually organized, although it doesn't look it. I know where all the IEC cables are, so let's just plug this one in and hope for the best. So let's put the speakers at the back. Also, one last thing, of course, if this happens to you, grab some pliers and chop the cable so no one else that is, you know, trying to find cables in the bins and things, nobody else picks up this cable and takes it home, because you don't want to hurt someone else's, you know, property or whatever. So just make sure no one can ever use the cable again if it's faulty. And yeah, I'm actually gonna have a little look inside and see if I can see anything of where it exploded. Alright, so this is the last thing about this, I promise, but we can see here, we can just see some charring on the end of the wires here. And if we have a look at this wire, this is nowhere near high enough gauge for 240 volts. I mean, this is probably 20 gauge, 22 gauge. I mean, I'm running 12 gauge wire to speakers. This is ridiculous. So again, just be careful with cheap 240 volt eBay wires or anything like that. Once you're talking high voltage, make sure the gauge is thick enough to handle it. As well as that, if we notice here, there are only 2 wires. This is actually a 3-phase plug here that has, you know, the ground as well as the positive and negative, and there was no 3rd wire in here. So again, just be really safe and careful with that. Anyway, I'm actually going to move these at the back now. I just thought I'd really have to include that, just to point that out to anyone so people know what to do and know what to look out for. Alright, so here it is. My speaker stands at the back of my room that my camera will not autofocus on because of the lights. But anyway, as you can see there, they stand at the perfect height just to clear the headrest of the couch there, which means they are absolutely awesome when sitting on the couch. I even turned autofocus, I turned stabilizing off. I thought I turned autofocus off then. But anyway, they sit perfectly there, and when I'm in that couch just there, the sound quality from these speakers is so nice because they're at ear level. So that's been the build of the rear channel stands. I do of course need to make the bottom of it bigger, which I will do when I go to finish them. As far as painting them, I'm going to paint them black, and the speakers that'll go on top are going to be white. But I am definitely going to make the base bigger because they are way too easy to move around, and they just aren't as secure as I'd like. And especially when I'm custom building speakers and I'm going to put a bit of money into it, I really don't want them to be, you know, falling off the couch and landing, you know, on the door or breaking, or you know what it's like. You just don't want things to break. But anyway, that's been the build of the rear speakers and just a little video on the Cantons and that. If I get the subwoofer, I'm going to be really excited to get that, and I'll definitely have some videos coming on that when that happens, if that happens. But anyway, this has been the Canton build. The stands are cool. They're 900mm tall. The bases are 120mm by 100mm, which I'll make the bottom a little bit bigger so it's, you know, stronger and better. Paint them black, white speakers, and the rest I'll make white speakers as well. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, let me know with a like on it. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know down in the comment section down below. Subscribe to my channel down the bottom left there if you haven't already. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Also, let me know what your thoughts were on the style of the video with that the Rode lav mic I had there. It was awesome. I'm going to do my builds like that from now on, I'm thinking. So let me know what your opinions were on that so I can base my future plans off that. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed.